Leading up to the release of the Fantastic Four, I conducted my research. I've been reading, and I've come to really love this team. I think this movie did the first family justice, finally. Fantastic Four fans get a film they can truly be proud of, one that respects the source material while introducing some of its own ideas. I think it's a job well done. It really felt like a film unashamed of its origins. But this film was a tale of two halves. The first act of this movie was fine, perhaps a bit rushed, but it effectively introduced the world, our heroes, and how we got here. The second act of this movie was some of the best and most thrilling acts I've seen from a comic book movie. They didn't pull any punches. It was a perfect transition to the idea that the Fantastic Four are not just superheroes. They are astronauts, envoys, adventurers, explorers. Their very presence changes the landscape of the universe, of the galaxy. It inherently invites conflict. So when Galactus' herald shows up, I swear everybody in the theater sat up. The film conveyed a real sense of dread and impending doom when Galactus' arrival was announced. And the entire sequence on Galactus' ship, it had everything. The ship's set piece felt grand and haunting. The Silver Surfer looked and felt so damn cool. And the push and pull between her and Johnny was so well done. And Galactus himself felt like an actual gargantuan presence. That shot of his silhouette and his eyes glowing and turning on, and then the black hole chase sequence juxtaposed with Sue entering labor was cinema. There was humor when there needed to be humor, but the tension was never cut by it. Our fear was never interrupted. It was perfect. We then return to Earth, and the first family is forced to think of a solution to the unthinkable. How do they stop a force of nature? Would you give up your child for the fate of the world? Is there any way around it? I wish they could have stretched this philosophical dilemma a bit longer. It was compelling, but it felt like they never fully, truly committed to it. And then the next hour of the film felt rushed. This movie felt like 20 or 25 minutes was cut short, maybe because Marvel was afraid of the criticisms of their movie's length. That's what it felt like. But these big, grand movies, they need time, but I will get back to that. Moving over to the characters, the core of this movie, you can make a real case that this is either Johnny or Sue's movie. That either of the Storm siblings carry this movie, and I would not disagree at all. I'm quite pleased with how pivotal Susan was to the plot and to their family, because her character is always that important. She should never be relegated to the sidelines as she was in their previous adaptations. There's a quote from the Marvel 2-in-1 that says that Susan makes sure that the four never forget their why. She always sees the big picture of their trips and what they mean to the world, and it felt that way in this film. Her speech outside the Baxter building calms the world down. Her mediation skills brings Mole Man into the fray, saving their city, and she's the one who executes the plan, pushing Galactus through the teleporter. At every pivotal point of the movie, Sue does something good. She has a real claim to be the MVP of this film, and Vanessa Kirby was every bit of comic book Sue Storm. She was an anxious, nervous wreck when thinking about Franklin. She argued with Reed about their future, about their choices. But she was ever so strong and decisive when the family and the world and her son needed her to be. And scary. Johnny in past adaptations has been boxed into being only arrogant and attention-seeking. The one who feels like he's never doing it for the right reasons. But this movie found the perfect Johnny Storm. He was my personal favorite. And it began with his insecurity, his desire to be as good as his perfect sister and his perfect brother-in-law. And this movie showcased that at his core, Johnny cares about people. Johnny has and will always be ready to sacrifice himself for others. He's always the first to do it. And in the movie, he tries to offer himself up to Galactus instead of the child. For the sake of the world, that is Johnny Storm. He is both empathetic and intelligent, and he wants his family to be proud of him. And at the same time, yeah, he's arrogant and he is chasing the quote sexy alien. He provides comic relief and his chemistry with the Thing was excellent. The duality of man. One thing I particularly liked about the portrayal of the four was that each character was intelligent. These are astronauts at the end of the day, not just randoms. Ben piloting the ship, Johnny decoding the Shenla language. Reed and Sue go without saying. Joseph Quinn was the casting people were most worried about, but he turned out to be easily Johnny Storm's best portrayal, and the standout of the film. I do wish we could have gotten a couple flame-ons though. The one character I was disappointed with was the Thing. Ben Grimm felt at times like a background character. Of course, he is very funny, he is the rock of the four, no pun intended, and I liked how Eben Moss portrayed him as kind and caring and gentle. But for his own character's journey and story, there wasn't much of Yancey Street's finest. We get the long glances in mirrors. With his beard, we get bits of how hyper-aware he is of his appearance and that insecurity, along with Natasha Lyonne's character. But that's it. The film never commits to it. He doesn't have anything for us to sink our teeth into. He doesn't even get that much time with Reed or with Sue. We get one clobbering time, but it doesn't even feel all that good. He didn't even get to do much clobbering in the film. I mean, he didn't get to do much at all. Everyone was given a chance to show how much they love the earth, each in their own unique way. For Johnny, it was his sacrifice. For Sue, it was her speech, her mediation. Reed, his labored genius. But we were missing Benjamin Grimm. Character bits aside, Ben was also missing a moment. His character suffered the most at the hands of this movie's editing. Finally, Mr. Fantastic. Pedro Pascal's Reed was always going to be the key to the family, and what a performance this was. It really felt like a great blend of North and Hickman's Reed, with a bit of Mark Waid's as well. He had the neurodivergent bit of North's portrayal, which is the first thing we pick up when the film opens, and it's there throughout the movie, like he's always somewhere else, thinking, a tad distant even, emotionally. However, when that constant thinking is met with the burden of guilt that Reed carries, we get an excellent portrayal of Reed Richards. All of the calculating, the worrying, the thinking that Reed does, the sadness that he carries behind those eyes is because he blames himself for what happened to them. He is so afraid of messing up again that now he does everything in his power to ensure that it will not happen again. And so that scene when Reed is forced to admit that he doesn't know what to do, that he doesn't know something, it's so heartbreaking because he feels like a man who is not only letting himself down, but more importantly to him, he is letting his family down again. When he tells Franklin, there's something wrong with me, there always has been, there's that bit of self-loathing that Reed has that Pedro executes perfectly. Reed in this film is so tortured. The burden of his genius is felt, and he is trying his best to control every single variable in the universe so that he does not fail to that magnitude again. Pascal's performance was able to carry all of these subtle emotions so well. I think the only thing missing for Reed Richards in this film was a moment, a signature moment for his character to really shine, but I suspect he will have more than a few going forward. Family is the centerpiece of this movie, and they nail that. Through uncertainty, through change, through unpredictability, family is all they have and it is all they will always have. It is the constant and they fight to protect it. I do quickly want to revisit that second act. I just can't get it out of my head. It's one of the best sequences I've seen. And the black hole in particular was the quintessential Fantastic Four sequence. Ben piloting the ship, Sue in labor but still helping out, Johnny trying to figure out the mechanics of the wormhole, and Reed embodying his abilities, calculating how they will survive, how to deliver his baby, helping Ben pilot the ship, and making sure his wife is okay all at the same time. And it just looks so damn cool. Again, Silver Surfer looks so damn cool. Galactus was also really well done. Neither good nor evil, but a necessary presence, a natural force in their world. And he even makes allusions to the man that he used to be, Galen. And in the movie you can tell he is tired, seeking his way out. And Galactus's humanity is always portrayed as selfish. And all that is conveyed excellently. From a plot standpoint, I thought most of the decisions were okay, but again, I just can't stop thinking about how this movie feels like it's missing a piece, and what that piece is, I don't know. Personally, as stated, I would have loved to see a lot more Ben Grimm. While I love the Silver Surfer in this movie, I would have liked to see her actually interact with the people of Earth, as the Herald has done many times, adopting it as their home. I thought aside from the chase sequence, the action was a bit weak. Reed didn't really get to use his powers in any cool ways, and the Thing didn't get to showcase what he can do all that much. Another action set piece would have been nice. I know that they are explorers and adventurers first, but what can I say? I like to see my heroes put belt to ass when they are adapted to the big screen. And while I'm here, a note on RDJ's Doom, I'm not moved at all. If anything, that mid-credit scene actually made me a bit angry because I was forced to remember what they're actually planning to do. Some foolishness. Anyway, I rated the Fantastic Four a 3.5. This could have easily been a 4 or at the very best a 4.5, and I think that's what frustrated me the most. It's a film that wanted to be great, it wanted to be fantastic, but it settled for solid. They played it safe as the MCU does. I know Feige has something to do with it, I just know it. Anyways, let me know what y'all think.